Arsenal are determined to sign Victor Osimhen before deadline day. Remember, this whole thing sort of came about in a little bit of an opportunist way in that Galatasaray, who he plays for, were asking Arsenal about the availability of Martinelli and, you know, putting a bid for him, which was turned down. In the same time, Andrea goes, well, what about Victor Osimhen? Would he be available? And that is how the whole thing started. Now, that outlet as well, they also claim that Mikel Arteta is eager to make a world-class signing before the end of the transfer window, and he sees Victor Osimhen as that player. And they also claim, and other outlets claiming, that a deal of roughly around 60 million plus would get the deal done for Victor Osimhen. He's on very high wages, reported to be around about £300,000 a week, so that is a lot. Doable for Arsenal when you consider what they would have had to have paid if they would have bought in, say, for instance, Vinicius Jr. But £60 million, I mean, we're being told ALVAREZ, Julian Alvarez, who's obviously another target for Arsenal, would cost at least 120 million. So 60 million, I mean, that would be Osimhen for half the price. They're more or less the same age. I mean, he's an excellent goal scorer. He's kind of got a better goal scoring record over the years than Alvarez. He's won the league in Turkey. He's won the league in Italy. I mean, for 60 million plus, that's not bad. I mean, high wages, yes, but that's not bad. It's going to be interesting to see what Arsenal do with this Victor Osimhen deal. Of course, we know that Galatasaray don't really want to sell him, but money talks. What about Martinelli? Could he be the guy that gets sacrificed then if Arsenal were to make the signing of Osimhen, or even indeed an Alvarez? Martinelli could be sold to facilitate one of those deals. You know, we've seen where Arsenal, we've heard a lot of talk that Arsenal be willing to take around about £50 million for him, which I think is too low. But when you're selling to these teams abroad, they haven't got the big money, unless it's the big two over there in Spain, to buy these players. He didn't want to go to Turkey, we know that. He refused that move to Galatasaray, but he may be more open to going to join clubs in Italy. Napoli have been showing strong interest in Martinelli. Roma, said to be the latest club as well, interested in Martinelli as well. So his future really is hanging in the balance at the moment. I think if Arsenal don't get a good offer for him, they're going to keep him. But if something big comes in, he could be sold, especially if they was to bring in somebody like an Osimhen. Now, we know that the big problem is this centre-back, right-back position for Arsenal with the injury to William Saliba, which, you know, I saw Sammy Mokbel saying yesterday, probably going to be out for at least 2 months, at least. We know Timber, no pre-season yet, not one game, not 1 minute has he played, still recovering from his injury. And it looks like what they're trying to do this time with these type of players is not rush them back. Noted Arsenal got rid of a load of their medical team. Maybe they weren't happy with the advice they were getting last season on some of the players, and players came back too early and then got injured again. They're not prepared to do that when it comes to Saliba, when it comes to Timber. They're too good, they're too valuable. They need them fit. Need a centre-back who can also play in that right-back position as well. That is the ideal signing for Arsenal. We know Ezri Konsa is one of those players that they're looking at. Now, according to a couple of journalists, Arsenal's set to be closing in on a deal, according to them. Journalist Pete O'Rourke, he claims that a deal is 99% done. Wow, that's what he's claiming. The French journalist, Sébastien Vidal, he's saying that the deal for Konsa is progressing well. And Sammy Mokbel of the BBC says Konsa is the preferred option over QUANSAH, who is proving difficult to get because Bayer Leverkusen don't want to sell him.
There's no other place to start than this man, Victor Osimhen, and the reports that Arsenal are in talks to sign him this summer. James, what can you tell us?
Well, this is a report that's emerged in the Telegraph this morning from Matt Law, a brilliant journalist based in the UK. And we know that Arsenal and Galatasaray have been speaking about the possibility of Gabriel Martinelli going the other way. Now, it appears there's been wide-ranging conversations between Arsenal, their sporting director, Andrea Berta, and Galatasaray around a potential signing of Victor Osimhen. Now, there's a possible scenario that he's been offered to Arsenal, or there's a scenario whereby Arsenal have asked about his availability. We wait to see what has happened in those talks and whether this progresses into something verging on interest and potentially a bid from Arsenal. And it's the Telegraph's understanding that Galatasaray have an interest in Gabriel Martinelli and Ethan Nwaneri. So very early stages. We know there's been interest in Victor Osimhen from clubs in the Premier League for a long time. We know Arsenal have had an interest in signing a striker in this transfer. We know Julian Alvarez appears to be their main target, but we know Atletico Madrid aren't prepared to let him go for anywhere less than £170 million, around 200 million euros. So potentially, if that's ruled out, Arsenal need to look at other options if they are serious about signing another striker in this transfer window. And here's a man who's a proven goal scorer. Yeah. So we wait to see if anything develops following these talks between Arsenal and Galatasaray. We know the two clubs are talking. We don't know how serious Arsenal are about signing Victor Osimhen in this transfer window. Yeah,
he's often talked about during this period, isn't he? And I mean, is he the guy to unmask Arsenal's? Yeah, thank you for laughing at the gag. I'm glad you got it. It's early for that one, but is he the man to unmask their attacking problems?
I think he'll certainly help. He would be a marquee signing. I don't think as big as Vinny Jr., who they were after in the first place. I don't think that deal was ever going to happen. But Victor Osimhen, yeah, he's a proven goal scorer at Napoli, Galatasaray. And now hopefully he can come to England, because there's been a lot of talk about him over many years, linked with all types of clubs, and it's never happened. I think now is the time for that to happen, and he could be the final piece that Arsenal probably need to help Gyökeres really, and help all those creators, Odegaard, Eze, even Bruno now, and he'll be the man to finish all those chances off.
I mean, they are leaving themselves light if they've let Trossard go, and now if they let Martinelli go. But is he an upgrade on what they have there, James, in your opinion?
Well, in terms of the two central striking options, they've got Victor Gyökeres and they've got Kai Havertz. Whether or not he's a striker or a number 8 or a number 10, I don't think anybody will ever be able to get to the bottom of that debate. But here's what Victor Osimhen has done over the course of the last 5 seasons. You look at those goals there, there's a reason why we talk about him in every single transfer window on Sky Sports News. The last 2 seasons there have been in the Turkish Super League, the previous 3 seasons in Serie A with Napoli. So he's a proven goal scorer. You'd argue that the Turkish Super League isn't anywhere close to what the Premier League is, but you can see his body of work there, very, very impressive. We can compare him to Arsenal's other strike options there. Victor Gyökeres scored 14 goals in the Premier League last season. They won the Premier League title, but I think it was a fairly underwhelming campaign from Victor Gyökeres. He didn't start in some of the big games. He didn't score in the big games either. We know Kai Havertz was injured for a large portion of last season, scored in the Champions League final, always pops up with really important goals, whether it be in a Chelsea shirt or in an Arsenal shirt.